many people have been incredibly stupid and listened to me and thought, oh, it would be alright, it sounds like a laugh, and it's not a laugh.
The Dirty Reiver is the UK's original gravel event, a wilderness challenge in the northern borders. It's open to anyone with a suitable bike and a sufficiently masochistic outlook to take it on. It's notoriously tough. In the Red Bull list of top 10 gravel events, the Dirty Reiver is number 1. It takes place in Kielder and Walk forests, a vast expanse of moorland and timber surrounding Kielder Reservoir. It's famous for dark skies and few people. But thanks to forestry, it's crisscrossed with hundreds of gravel tracks and trails. Straddling the border with Scotland, it's lonely and remote. That's one of the things that makes this ride special, the sense of isolation. Not many cycle events insist you carry a whistle and a survival blanket.
In 2019, my cycle club, North Tyneside Riders, had over 20 participants in the Dirty Reiver. I wanted to find out what the gravel scene was all about, so I rode with them.
My name is Mark Killing.
It's Michael Lee.
I'm Gary Legg.
After you.
I'm Nicola Olive.
I'm Gary Olive.
So Mark, you've done it a couple of times. What can I expect?
Pain. A lot of pain. Pain in the body, pain in the soul. It's a joyous kind of pain. It's an enlightening experience. It's a tough day, but it's a challenge. It's not a race. It's a challenge, and completing that challenge, and knowing that you've pushed your body and your mind, because I say a lot of the time you could be on your own in isolated countryside. Knowing you've done that spiritually is a really rewarding thing. Really rewarding. Don't get me wrong, when you get across that finish line, you would never want to do a Dirty Reiver ever again. But then that moment that you have your beer and you have your food and it all starts to sink in, and the pain in your arms and your wrists and your legs starts to subside, and you're like, actually that was a pretty momentous thing. I love this. I want to do it again. Not right now, in 12 months' time, but I want to do it again.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, especially up in Kielder as well. We've ridden over there quite a lot, so we know the terrain in some respects. We know the weather conditions can really turn even in the summer, so we know it's going to be tough. So we're just trying to get the training in now.
I don't know, just the challenge of it. The fact it's a full-on day. Like, there's no real let-up from it. I can't imagine there is. Not that I've ever done that, but it's just sort of, yeah, it's just like a big challenge, which is what I'm looking forward to. Just a bit of scenery, good company.
A real challenge, but I love challenges. You know, I'm getting on. You know, as you get older, you think, well, I'm not dead yet. Let's see what I've got left in me. So I like to push myself, and I'm sure everybody else feels the same way. I want to still go and see how far I can get.
Mark's been going on about non-stop anyway, just hammering everybody to go on. No, got to do the Reiver. Everybody's got to do the Reiver.
How are you preparing?
Not very well. Last year, my preparation went pretty well. I managed to get a lot of miles in. This year, I've moved jobs, I've moved overseas, and I just can't get much cycling in at all. Pretty much all I'm doing is spinning sessions, which leads me to wonder whether I'm going to be able to do the 200 or maybe have to chicken out and do the shorter version. I'll decide on the day, but it will be a real concern of mine, because I just won't have the miles in my legs.
Been trying to get on my bike a bit more, and then got back on the turbo trainer, which I haven't really touched. I maybe just went on it once last year. In the last few weeks I've been in it maybe 6 or 7 times. So it's sort of been doing that, been starting to run now as well. Did my first park run last weekend.
What have you been doing to prepare?
Eating pies, tasting different whiskies that are going to go in my hip flask, and generally making sure that my tyres are very well tubelessly set up. Not as much as I probably did last year, just the normal hammering the miles out day in day out on the commute and getting out when I can at weekends just to keep that gravel feeling underneath the wheels.
Today we've ridden quite a long way off-road. We've gone over to Stanhope, we've gone down Crawley side, we've come back up Wickhope, and then we've done a little bit of a loop through Concert, Stanley, all the nice places. Where did I end up?
Here.
Yeah, ended up with Exchange. About 85 miles?
About 85 miles off-road, yeah.
And it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard today, yeah.
Extreme windy conditions, wasn't it?
It was very windy today, yeah.
20, 30 miles an hour, so it was a tough old day in the saddle, I've got to say.
But I think it's been a bit of a wake-up call, hasn't it? For some training that we'll probably still need to do over the next few weeks, really. We're not shy of doing miles, but I think with the winter season we've kind of took it easy a bit and potted around, so today's kind of been a bit of a woo.
200 k's is obviously what we're aiming to do for the Dirty Reiver. So today, like I say, probably k-wise, probably about 150. So we're a little bit short, but we think we've got it in our legs. But yeah, it was a good day.
Yeah.
What's your ideal gravel ride?
The Dirty Reiver. But no, seriously, I think for me, my ideal gravel ride would definitely be wilderness. It would definitely be somewhere with an epic view. It doesn't necessarily have to be a venue that is gravel orientated. I rode Nanty Arian, which is a mountain bike trail course in mid Wales on my gravel bike, and was blown away by how great it was to use a gravel bike on that type of course. I mean, I was doing red runs there, which, you know, really a gravel bike is not designed for, but nailing it and seeing some epic views. So anything that's challenging, anything that's fun, and anything that's epic. And that can be from my front door to somewhere up in the wilds of Northumberland or Scotland, doesn't matter.
Yeah, just a bit of a mixture of terrain, so maybe it's a little bit on road, a little bit like sort of what the light gravel, a bit like the wagon ways, and then like a bit of mud, bit of single track, just a mixture and just like different scenery basically. No cars, yes. Yeah. And a few hills actually, a few hills thrown would be great.
So what for you is the attraction of gravel riding or dirt riding?
I started off mountain biking really, and then I switched to road for a while, got the bug for that, and then I went back to the trails. And to me, riding on the trails is so much nicer. You've got much better scenery, you don't have to worry about traffic. You know, there's so many options. You can ride along a trail and you can just look at a little bit of scuff which goes off into the woods. Oh, let's see where that goes. And off you go and you just explore. It's brilliant. Love it.
I probably tend to do quite a lot more sort of wagon wheel style riding than what you do, don't I? Yeah, I think I feel a lot more confident on it. In particular if I'm out on my own as well. I know I'm away from the traffic. And like I said, I do commute to and from work, but I quite often do an extra loop in there, and the only downside is that sometimes you can end up in places where you think, oh my god, if anything happened, nobody would have an actual clue as to where I am. I could be here for days. So that does sometimes go through your head. But majority of the time, I'm normally with someone. I go out with the girls quite regularly, I go out with a mixed group quite regularly, and it's just like playing out with your mates like you did when you were a kid. Just go out, you play up and down the tracks, you mess about a bit, you might even pull a skirt or a bunny hop.
You get dirty. You get
dirty. I love getting dirty.
I feel gravel in the morning. I love the feeling gravel in the morning.
Does anything about the Dirty Reiver scare you?
I've heard the descents aren't great and there's no let up with that, so that sort of scares me a little bit. But yeah, I don't think there's anything particularly scary about it. I think it's just like maybe it's not finishing. This is the only thing that would scare me.
And some parts of that course, if they are wet, you are going to really want to take your time through. So that's the thing. The only thing that really worries me is weather, more than anything else.
Well, last year it was a bit of the unknown. Thinking, my God, I'm actually going to manage to do 200 kilometres off-road, because I've never done an off-road journey like that before. This year, having got it under my belt now, it's just really, well, two things. First of all, my fitness. I think at the moment my fitness is way off, so I'm concerned that I won't manage to do the full distance. And secondly, as Mark said earlier, the weather, that can play such a massive part on the day. Last year I think we got quite lucky, the weather was good. It was quite warm actually. Got into maybe the low 20s. Certainly didn't want it any warmer. But if you have a cold, wet day, it really does challenge you a lot physically and mentally.
For me, the weather, because it can be quite nasty up there. Going around that, we've done the lake a few times, which is 26 miles, whatever that is, 60k or something. We've done that a few times, but we know, that can be quite tough in itself, no matter what time of the year it is. We've done that in the summer and it's been quite tough. So it's unpredictable, because we actually don't know the route itself.
Yeah, that hasn't been set yet.
Yeah, we don't know the terrain, because the lake that we've done a few times, around the reservoir, we've done that a few times, and that's not the same terrain as what it is for the Dirty Reiver.
Yeah, it's quite easy terrain really, isn't it?
So it's not knowing, that's what it is, not knowing, to do that kind of distance off-road on terrain that we don't actually know. So yeah, it's quite daunting, got to say.
And people keep saying it's tough.
Yeah.
Tubes or tubeless?
Don't be stupid. Tubeless? It's tubeless, seriously, it's tubeless every time. Tubeless for a number of reasons. One, comfort. You can run pressures much lower than you could have in a tube tyre. You don't need to worry about pinch flats, so it's much more comfortable. Two, just inner tubes. If you're running inner tubes, the chances of you pinch flatting are much higher, particularly on some of the sections on the Dirty Reiver. You just noodle it, pump it back up, and away you go. It really is that simple. So yeah, absolutely 100% tubeless.
Tubes or tubeless?
Wow.
Combination.
Where do we start? Our first puncher of the day was with a guy who was religiously not tubeless. That was Lee Head, and he got the first puncher, but he's converted to tubeless. But he got his first puncher, and it was just like, what do you do? All his sealing was coming out. We lost a lot of sealing.
It wasn't just coming out, it was spraying out the top like a volcano.
Yeah, it was just like, well, that's it, that's all your sealing gone now. It was like, yeah, got his little kit out.
Spin it. Yeah, didn't it?
Yeah, no, it didn't go. That was a 25-minute stop.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
It was a long time.
Disaster, to be honest. Then the next puncher.
You got it sorted though. He did.
Yeah, eventually.
He did a double noodle.
Yeah.
A double noodle. It got in, and it's done him proud the rest of the way.
Yeah.
He's now.
He was going to turn back, but
he kept checking it regularly though. He was lacking confidence, but he's there now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next two were both tubes, weren't they?
Yeah.
One right on the top, about 3 miles before the cafe.
Yeah. Exposed.
Totally
cold.
exposed, windy.
Not now,
hard.
Suzanne.
You're not meant to mention names.
Sorry. But that well, it wasn't me. Darren.
Darren, he got stuck in.
Yeah, Superman came in.
Yeah.
Sorted that out within 5 minutes. Wheel off. There's the puncher. Bosh. Got it in. And it was almost like...
It was just pinch flat though, wasn't it, off the rocks?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was that rocky terrain that we've been told will be what's on the Dirty Reiver. Yeah.
So from a 25-minute change from a tubeless, which is unheard of, and then suddenly getting a puncher with a tube took less than 5 minutes.
Did.
It was like, tubes of the future.
If we never had them. So for the Dirty Reiver, tubes or tubeless?
I'm going tubeless.
Tubeless.
Tubes or tubeless?
Tubeless. Gotta be. I've had no bother at all, it's been brilliant.
So, tubeless is great. 99.9% of the times, but sometimes you just got to succumb, and today I've succumbed. This has now got an inner tube in, probably the first and last time I'll stick an inner tube in, I hope, but yeah, we've not had much luck.
The Dirty Reiver 2019 was something which Mark told us about. Last year I couldn't do it, but I wanted to do it anyway. This year we enlisted to do it, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll do it, and I had a look straight away, and I thought 65, 130, yeah, let's do the 200. So I didn't do as much riding as what I thought I would have done over the winter, and I got there and I was still quite confident of doing the 200. I got there on the Thursday actually, and I seen the build up, and I thought, wow, this is like pretty like professional. It's pretty well organised, and I seen a lot of people who were riding there and thought, these are serious cyclists, I might have to look into this a little bit more. And then I was in the pub chatting to people on how they'd done last year. This was on the night before, and I thought, ooh, I'm not having too many pints here, because this is going to be harder than I thought. And I checked the weather, and I thought, yeah, pretty good. And I read the itinerary about you have to take enough food to get round and stuff. And I thought I had everything with us.
The night before the event was freezing. It was about -7 in our tent. The sensible ones slept in a nice warm lodge.
Bye guys.
And on the day of the ride, I got to the start and I looked around and I thought, wow.
Okay, it's that time. You ready? We know you are. You warmed up. Be nice to each other. It's not a race. If anybody's in trouble, help them out. Tell a marshal. We know you'll do this. We're about to start. Be calm, people. We're just going to ease out of the gate here. Have a fantastic day. Off we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Come on, Rob! Come on, Dirtbag! Have a good one, Mr. 40!
And I started the ride and I was just blown away by the organisation, the attitude of all the riders, how nice everybody was. It was absolutely, I couldn't fault it.
How's my crew doing?
Come on.
Hello. It's all downhill.
Oh yeah.
All hurts. Cheers. Cheers to the NTR dirtbags. Good times.
Scenery like this.
Did you manage to see any of the scenery?
I've seen quite a bit of it on the downhills, but on the uphills, I didn't see much. I was just like sort of head down and pedalling it. But I liked it that much. I've been back every weekend since, so I've had another look. I'm going tomorrow actually. And I like the parts when we're going through the woods on the single track soft mud trails. I like them. I really enjoyed them. That was a chance to like get your back up and get your head up and have a look round and get yourself a bit flex and take a bit of the scenery in. I really enjoyed them bits. But it's for the scenery, most of it on the downhills, not the uphills. We started the raid, fantastic, lovely terrain, exactly as it was described. Got to the first feed station, felt really good. Plenty of bananas and chocolate cake and fluid and stuff.
Don't be fooled by them saying there's hot tea. It's very cold tea.
Oh right, there's tea.
It's cold.
I'll take cold tea.
Ice cold tea. You're like, this is what you got there, and it was just like, oh, find the cup.
Classic tea, you get to the front, do the thing and cold water.
Just so like, have you been across there yet?
Just got flapjack.
What's that? We found 5 Jaffa cakes.
All right.
Just sort of like, oh.
Hey, having those.
Yeah, Jaffa cakes.
Oh, got here. Not bad back. It'll take it out of you, won't it?
Yeah. Hi Julia, you alright? Yeah.
Then we started to head towards the second feed station, and I realised that I wasn't carrying enough food with us. I had probably underestimated the raid and got to the cut-off point for the 130 or 200, which was 12:30 in the afternoon. We got there 10 to 12, so we still had 40 minutes, and I just like had a think and thought, another 4 hours on top, and I was absolutely knackered at that point. So we decided to go on the safe side and take the 130, which was still a real struggle. It's probably the hardest ride I've done, and I've done the coast to coast in 10.5 hours on my mountain bike.
What do you think makes it so hard?
The terrain, the hills and the terrain. It's not. I've been out on my road bike and I've did that amount of climbing on longer distances, and it isn't as hard as that. It was the terrain, and even on your downhills you can't relax. You have to, because you're tense all the time. I had a lot of shoulder pain the next day because you're concentrating all the time because of the bumps in the road. It's not just like on a road bike and you just whoosh down the hill, you're watching for a bit of traffic. You've got to concentrate all the time. You really have. It was fantastic. I really loved it. Really did.
You were on your mountain bike, weren't you?
I was on the 29er. So I was lucky because I had bigger tyres, which made us a little bit slower. but I had front suspension. Not like a lot of the guys on the gravel bikes, they wouldn't have any suspension, none whatsoever. So I had a little bit of suspension to comfort it. My tyres were a bit bigger, and I didn't get any punctures because my larger tyres, but it was a little bit harder riding it, but a little bit easier on the body, I suppose.
Yeah.
With the bump humps and bumps.
Yeah, it was a tough all day.
It was a very tough day.
What do you think was your favourite bit?
The favourite bit of the Dirty Reiver was the downhill from after the feed station. Number one was the climb up to the wooden monument. That was a long climb. Mark said it was at the feed station, your longest climb's coming now, and I just got down and I struggled up there. When I got to the top, it was a long sweeping downhill it came, and it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. There was trees on your right, but on the left it was open, and there was some hills in the distance. I think most of the trees had been felled. And a long strip came around to the left, and you went over like a few cattle grids. There was loads of bottles. The bottles actually came off my bike, and I stopped, and that was my favourite bit of it, apart from crossing the finishing line. That was great, that bit.
Do you remember the climb? I'm thinking the climb, it's called Sturdy Bray, the climb up to where the Banana Man was.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Tell
That
me
was
about
that was a climb which was after the big climb after the feed station, wasn't it? Mm. And then you did some more, and that's when I really started to feel tired. I really started to feel on that. And there was a Banana Man and the guy with a drum banging.
Do you know what this needs? More cowbell. Banana Man, I've always been such a big fan, dude. Appreciate it, wooden like tree that had been felled, and it was like a bench thing, and there was some guy sitting on it, and I remember the guy saying to us, I was really tired. I actually had a sandwich with us, and I got the sandwich on my backpack, and I was sitting, and I said to the guy, this is harder than I thought it was going to be, and he said it was, you've broke its back now, man, you're nearly there. And then I knew I was going to like make it when he was saying stuff like that, and I was saying, you've done most of the climbing now, most of the climbing's done, the next feed station's not far away, you're nearly there. And it was giving us a boost of confidence, helped us get round, to be honest.
Preparation that goes into feed stage 2. Here's me, Marshall Point 17, the top of the dam, Hawk Hope Car Park. Beautiful. Well done, boys. 20k left, that's all. Nearly home. Whoop whoop. Well done, Tony. Good man. The rest are in the pub. Enjoy, Tony. 20 kilometres left. Clear for the marshal. Clear for the marshal. Well done. Congratulations. 20 kilometres.
Dirty Reiver.
Dirty Reiver. 20k and you're home, boys. I've seen a special few, and I'm not sure how much enthusiasm I've got left for others, because I did save it for you. try and reserve a little bit if you keep me some beer at the pub. Anyway, well done to all of you that actually did something today. Well done.
What was the worst bit?
Only getting one kebab at the end. I could have done with two. The worst bit was the downhill near the finish, just before you hit the 4 mile mark. It was really bumpy and really rocky downhill. I actually lost control of my bike and I came off. Fortunately, didn't hurt myself. I fell off in like a pile of heather. I thought I was falling. It felt like I was falling in water. It was so soft. I didn't damage my bike. There was no cuts or bruises. But the last 4 mile just seemed to take forever. And I was so tired, I didn't feel in control of the bike. And there was like walkers there and other people in. I didn't like the last 4 mile. But when I got to the finish, I'd actually rid the last 4 mile the day before, and it seemed like, oh yeah, right, but it seemed like to take forever. That was the worst bit for me, the last 4 mile.
What were you thinking when you were lying there in the heather?
I was thinking before I hit the heather, oh crap, and then I fell in and I felt like I was in water. It was so soft. I felt like I was in water, and then I just like got up and checked my bike and everything was okay, and I just thought, oh thank God I haven't hurt myself, because if that had happened, in all fairness, anywhere early I would have probably hit a tree, but there was nothing there. It was just a field where it was just nice soft heather, so I was very lucky to be honest. No damage to the bike, but it was because I was tired. I was tired and the terrain was rough and rocky, and I just lost control of the bike, whereas I would have been paying more attention when I wasn't so tired. I was just thinking, where's the end? When's this thing going to finish? That was the worst part. I was knackered at the end. Absolutely knackered.
You weren't the only one. Great memory I had last year was when me and Tony finished. We were just coming up the finish line and everybody else had the big NTR flag. They're all cheering us. It really it meant a lot to me.
You alright? You're smiling? You're smiling? What does that say? Hey? Well done.
Well done. Last little bit.
Well done, Gil.
Well done.
Go on.
Keep going, go on.
Go on, one last climb. One last climb.
Go on. Well done.
Push.
Crawled across the finish line, to be honest. That's how difficult it was. And I kind of think of what it would have been like if somebody had said to us, right now you've got another 70k, do the 200. I couldn't have done it. Couldn't have done it. No way. For no amount of money in the world could I have done another 70k. So I made the right decision, but I did underestimate it. But it was brilliant. Brilliant.
Still beautiful Kielder. Absolutely stunning. 7:20, and the sun is still up. Still waiting for a few riders to come through. I think we should probably be here for another 3/4 of an hour, while the rest of NTR are in the pub. But not bitter at all. It's been a great day, and huge well done to everyone, and I'll see you about 9 o'clock. Bye.
We haven't mentioned the after party.
We haven't mentioned the after party.
Right.
It's your birthday party.
Well, last year it was. Last year it was on my birthday, so I brought a cake along, and Ruth and Malcolm, they looked after us. They had a fire pit going, and we had marshmallows and plenty of beers, of course, you know, because we were in the front of the Anglers Arms. It was great social. That's the good side of it, you know. You work hard, but you know what? It's a great social afterwards.
It was 7 hours 10 in the saddle, but it felt like a lot longer physically, and I probably didn't give it enough respect as what I should have. Next year, I'll train harder. I'll try and do the 200 if I can. I'll certainly take more food with us, and I'm really looking forward to it because it was a fantastic day. I had a brilliant time. Can't fault it, not one bit. I couldn't fault it, and if you asked us if I could possibly improve it, I couldn't improve it either. I had such a good time. It was great.